Good morning, members. I call Committee of Supply, Section C, to order. We're meeting today to consider the budget estimates of the Ministry of Energy, Mines and Low Carbon Innovation. I now recognize the Minister to move the vote.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Be it resolved that a sum not exceeding $121,111,000 be granted to His Majesty to defray the expenses of the Ministry of Energy, Mines and Low Carbon Innovation Ministry operations.
Thank you, Minister. Do you have any opening remarks?
I do, Madam Chair, and thank you. I'll try to be short because I know time is of the essence, and we'll have a short beginning this morning, but we'll have all afternoon. Yes, he's happy. So let me just say, first of all, I'm really pleased to be here as we consider and debate the budget estimates for the Ministry of Energy, Mines and Low Carbon Innovation, and grateful to see my critic, the member for Kootenay East, in the House here, and I'm sure that others will join him and that we'll have members from the other parties as well, and I look forward to the questions and the dialogue ahead. I do want to acknowledge that we are meeting here together on the territories of the Lekwungen-speaking peoples, and that I'm really grateful to have a phenomenal team of staff with me today to support our time and estimates, and that includes my Deputy Minister to my left here, Shannon Baskerville, and as well we have, and I'm going to introduce them all so that I won't need to repeat this in the future, but Assistant Deputy Ministers Les McLaren, Nate Ammon-Blake, Nat Gosman, Tanya Demchuk, and George Warnock. I will also be supported by, through the BC Energy Regulator, Commissioner Michelle Carr, and joining us from BC Hydro, we have CEO Chris O'Reilly, we have Ryan Layton as well, and the CFO for the ministry is being supported by Raman Dale for the CFO. So thank you very much. We have a lot of staff online who are working to support too, and I want to thank them as well. Just a few comments about the ministry so I have an opportunity to talk about some of the good work. As my colleagues here in the room know, our ministry is small, but it does have accountability for BC Hydro, the BC Energy Regulator, and some of the largest sectors of our economy. Before we get into the debate, I wanted to highlight three specific accomplishments of the ministry. And first is around the work that we're doing to keep BC Hydro rates affordable for people and businesses. We've kept rate increases below inflation for 6 years in a row, and rates are currently 12% lower than they would have been under the former government's 10-year rates plan. We asked BC Hydro to crunch the numbers, and that means that we've saved people and small businesses and industry here in the province a total of $1.725 billion on their hydro bill since 2017. This is really good news at a time when global inflation is driving up so many costs, and it's good to know that we are doing everything we can to keep the rates as low as possible. Second is the work that we're doing to support the transition, to accelerate the transition to electric vehicles. And when we brought in the Zero Emission Vehicle Act in 2019, critics told us that it couldn't be done. And these targets were too ambitious. But year after year, we've exceeded every single target that we've set. And EVs represent currently almost 1 in every 4 new cars that are sold today. That's the highest sales rate in Canada. Economically as well, the EV sector is growing. Compared to 2015, the total economic output of the EV sector has increased 142%, and it's now $2.9 billion. Jobs have increased by 120%, from 7,000 to 15,000. And the total number of electric vehicle businesses is up by 94%, from 198 to 384. And clearly that's an indication that this is part of our clean economy of the future. The third accomplishment is the work that we're doing to support the mining sector. And in the past year, Ascot's Premier Mine has had its first pour, in fact, just a few days ago. A major new mine operating called Artemis Blackwater received its mines permit. It'll be operational this summer. And Osisko's Caribou Gold received its environmental assessment certificate. So since 2017, when we took office, we've seen a doubling of mineral exploration expenditures here in the province. And that's investment that's coming here into BC to support companies and resources right at home. We've succeeded in reducing the permit backlog by 52%, including further investments in Budget 2024 that will further that success. And I'm sure that we'll get into all of these things and much, much more. So with that, I will end my opening remarks and look forward to the questions. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Minister. Now recognizing the member for Kootenai East. Would you like to make any opening remarks?
Sure. Thank you, Chair. Thanks you to the Minister for her opening comments. I'd like to echo her appreciation for her staff. I know the staff works hard. I see a younger version of Les McLaren sitting over there. With, he's got rid of the Johnny Strelayev from CBT wanted me to say that and put that on the record that you're looking youthful with that soup strainer gone. Anyways, I will definitely address some of those key points that the Minister made, keeping BC Hydro rates low. Absolutely. We're going to probably go into that a little bit maybe later today or on Monday. We'll have to see how those regulatory accounts were affected to keep those rates low, and some other issues. Zero emission vehicle targets and EV sector growing, of course. I mean, anyone looking at the price of gas today will probably be more incentivized to get in an electric vehicle, and we'll be going to gas prices as well. And then, of course, the mining sector, which is something near and dear to my heart, and I think that's probably where we'll start. And I think how I'd like to start is to maybe just do some testimonials. And I've picked, my office gets over flooded sometimes on folks that are concerned about the mining industry and where it's going and the permitting process and some of the slowdowns in the industry, to be quite honest, that they're facing. And so I'll first read a letter from a person that is in the jade industry. And I think the Minister will probably know where this is going, but I'll just read it because it came to me. Now, whether or not this is all factual, the Minister can probably comment on it, but I thought it was worth reading into the record. And it goes something like this. Over the last 35 years, I've worked long and hard in northern BC, establishing a solid reputation as a jade miner. Some refer to me as the pioneer of the BC jade industry, but I did not do it alone. I worked with a great team. I made lots of friends and business partners along the way, many of them Indigenous people. I'm very proud to have helped build a global market for BC jade, bringing millions of dollars each year into the northern BC economy. I thought British Columbia was a great place to build my business and raise a family. But my life changed on July 4th, 2019, when the President of the Tahltan Central Government arrived at our site in a helicopter and handed me an eviction notice. He did not care that I had operated in the area for over 30 years, had an excellent safety and environmental record, was fully permitted, and current on all mineral taxes. I had never met, I won't mention the name, the person from the Tahltan, but I was told secondhand that he was concerned about the jade industry because of a show he had seen on TV called Jade Fever. My business was not the one on that show. My practices were not the same as theirs. The eviction notice had no legal force, but the NDP government decided it would accommodate the Tahltan's president's demands and used its power to stop our jade company and others from operating. The suspension lasted 24 months to start. Then it was extended another 22 months. In that time, I lost my business, lost my global customers, and lost my faith in BC. I was never given a specific reason why we were forced to stop work. 2 independent reports at the request of the BC government gave glowing reviews of our reclamation and work and practices. The inexplicable shutdown did not only affect our 30-person team who lost their livelihoods, it forced hardship on BC jade exporters, manufacturers, wholesalers, retailers, and the community within our mining area. I do not know what the future holds for us here, if anything. I've had to hire lawyers, and I'm starting a lawsuit. Never in a million years did I think this could happen. And now I'm considering going to Afghanistan to develop jade deposits there. While I am worried about my safety, it's clear I have more ability to earn a living there than in BC right now. Reconciliation with Indigenous groups is a great principle. I fully support it and will do my part, but it cannot be achieved through unjust actions that deprive people of their life's work. I'm sharing my story and hope that others will share theirs. I believe there are many like me, from small family business to large corporations that are afraid to speak, but they need to, because if this can happen to me, it can happen to anyone. This is just a letter I'm putting on the record. I hear many similar stories like this. Now the Minister can comment. I guess the first place I'll go with it, does the Minister acknowledge the moratorium that's been placed in northern British Columbia on jade mining? If so, what have the efforts of the ministry done to resolve this? And after now almost 5 years, this July 4th, when can we see some end in sight and give some clarity to jade mining in northern British Columbia?
Minister.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to the member from Kootenay East for the question. And I wanted to start by acknowledging that yes, there is a moratorium or a pause on jade mining at this time. And in part, that's because our government is committed to environmental protection, to fostering a well-regulated and safe mining industry that's done in partnership with First Nations and with industry. We know that the mining sector is rich in opportunities for all British Columbians, and I want to acknowledge that when a pause like this takes place to do some of the difficult work, the work that we have to do collaboratively with industry and First Nations, that it does have impacts. And although I can't speak specifically to matters that are before the court, so I'll just make that clear right now that I'm not able to do that, I certainly can speak to what's taken place since the moratorium has been in place, and that is the work that our government is doing with the Tahltan central government, with the Cascadene, and with industry to address concerns around the environmental, economic, and cultural concerns about jade mining. The member referenced the television show, and for anybody who has seen the television show, it certainly, I think, highlights some of the concerns that people have felt about industry and why it's so important to work collaboratively to reach a solution. So placer jade mining permitting decisions in northern BC have been deferred until May 11th of this year, as the member I'm sure knows. And that has allowed us the time to work through recommendations for the sector with the Tahltan and with the Cascadene. This is work that is focused on alleviating concerns that jade miners have with the pause and putting forward solutions that benefit everybody. So while operators can't work or can continue their work, until the end of their permits. The permits aren't being extended or changed during this deferral period. So this work is ongoing. There will be more to say soon. We've had excellent engagement with several of the Jade operators, and I'm grateful to them for that in the past several months. And as the member knows, we're coming up on the end of that period, and government will have more to say. Thank you.
Member.
Thanks, Chair. So, a couple things the Minister said there. Yes, it is on pause. And I'll ask maybe, the first question is, Minister said we're coming to the end of that period. I'm not too sure what period she's talking about. Maybe she can explain the period she's talking about. Because first of all, it was a 24-month period. Then it was extended for another 22-month period. Now we're past the 22-month period. Now we're going into a third period, I guess. I'd like to find some timelines, some definitions. The Minister said soon. We're going to find out soon. Once again, not definable on any actual timeline, what soon actually means. Work is ongoing. I could certainly agree with that to some degree because it's been ongoing for 5 years now almost. The answers the Minister gave don't support the people that are concerned. The Minister stated the obvious. This is ongoing. We get it. But there's a shelf life to mining projects in this province. And as the person who wrote this letter indicated, he's lost his business. He's lost his livelihood. He's lost a lot of faith, too, as well, in the province. And he's not alone. So the Minister's going to have to maybe tighten up maybe slightly on giving some definite timelines because ongoing could last a long time. She also said that the Jade Mining Show highlighted the issues that people are concerned about. I'm certainly hoping that the Minister isn't relying on a sensationalized TV show as accurate depictions of how mining practices are happening in the province. There's many shows out there. There's the Coquihalla show. I can't remember, Highway to Hell or something like that. I'm not sure exactly what the name of the show is, but it depicts the Coquihalla in the wintertime. A little sensationalized. I've driven that highway many times, and it's not what it appears. So I think the Minister knows that these shows are intended to sensationalize things. So I'm certainly hoping she's not saying that the highlighting is depicted, is real to the what she's trying to accomplish here. So question to the Minister, can she, and I guess we're running out of time here, but I only got my second question in, but can the Minister explain herself on how much weight went into the Jade Mining Show as you know, as a concern, and was she doing actually boots on the ground on what the impact on jade mining has in that area?
Minister, do you want to answer this when we come back from break, or is it sort of a quick response? Okay, and then we'll have you move a motion following your answer, please.
Thanks very much, Chair. So first of all, to be clear about the period, as I mentioned in my comments, the pause, let me get the wording exactly right. Placer Jade permitting decisions in northern BC are deferred until May 11th, 2024. That is the period to which I refer. It was the member who raised the television show that depicts aspects of the jade industry that, as I mentioned, some people are concerned about. But it is concerns that have been brought forward by the Tahltan and Cascadene that have been the subject of extensive engagement with industry and with the Tahltan and the Cascadene. And so that's really important to hear directly from industry, to hear directly from the nations about that. But the ministry has captured satellite imagery of mining disturbance in the Northwest to better understand the mining disturbance, and that is informing the future reclamation work and part of the technical information that's informing the conversations that are ongoing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Minister. Could you please move the motion?
Thank you, Honourable Chair. I move that the committee rise and report progress and ask leave to sit again.
Thank you. Then the question is that the committee rise, report progress, and seek leave to sit again. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried. Thank you, members. This committee stands adjourned.